We need to do another intro. So, real quick, here's what I want everyone to do. Say your name and then say what the podcast is about in like 30 seconds.
I'm going to tell you right now, John, that I, Matthew Sin, will not do that.
Well, then what are you going to do?
I emphatically refuse to state that the purpose of this podcast is to determine which character in a particular series, piece of media, book, whatever that we're talking about is the best. Because we've already done this twice before. To do it a third time is a disservice to myself, to Brandon, and I think to you. It's just disrespectful at this point.
Well, you know, here at Your Favorite Character Sucks, that's what we do. We repeat the process over and over until we have multiple winners. And then at the end of the season, we have a best of the best episode where those winners go head to head to determine which character is the best from the entire season.
Well, here's what I, Brandon Lee Nash, will tell you about this program, YFCS Pod, as we like to call it on the socials. I'm just here to argue with my friends about dumbass shit that most people don't really care about, but we do, and that's why we're here.
I love it. All right, thank you guys. On today's episode, Space Cowboys and Poor Samurai. We're talking about Watanabe's Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Can you guys hear me drink my tea? Hold on, let's test this. Did you hear that?
No, but how about this? Check this out.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, let me know about this cider sip right here.
Yeah. Oh
my gosh.
It sounds like you got that from like a stock like sound effects collection.
That's the shit they play before the movies when they show like the soda and popcorn.
Yeah.
The like ice clinks in the glass. Okay.
Oh.
Well, we're here to talk today about not just Cowboy Bebop, but also Samurai Champloo. And I would say Watanabe.
Space Dandy also?
Yeah. I would say Watanabe, but I know there's other shows, and that's,
we're not discussing
not really.
his most recent one that I know of, Carol and Tuesday.
Oh, I thought he did the Blade Runner thing. No?
He did do a Blade Runner thing. He also did like a Matrix thing.
He did Animatrix.
Animatrix, which I...
Oh, this same dude did Animatrix?
He did Animatrix, yeah.
I didn't know that, but Animatrix is dope.
I don't have an issue with Animatrix. I think I like Animatrix better than Matrix 2, or Matrix 3, or Matrix Resurrection. So, I mean,
I
there's
can see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's decent.
But we'll save that for the Matrix episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely do a Matrix episode.
We'll do a Wachowski Sisters. That way I can pick a character from Speed Racer.
You say Speed Racer?
Yeah, I believe they directed.
They did. They definitely did.
I did not know that.
It has like
That's
John
amazing.
Goodman in it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only person I know who's in that.
And they got who's the guy who played Gollum?
No.
Andy
They
Serkis?
got him to play. They got him to play Chim Chim. He played Chim Chim.
Jesus Christ.
We walked right into that.
Let's see, who do we got? Oh, they have Christina Ricci's in here. I like her a lot. Oh, and Susan Sarandon is the mom?
There's a K-pop star in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, directors Lana and Lily Wachowski.
Okay, so the Blade Runner thing was 2017. Carol and Tuesday was 2019, so I was still correct. And that was the most recent.
Carolyn Tuesday sounds like you're saying Carolyn Tuesday. Like
Carol
it's the name Carolyn.
And Tuesday.
Yeah.
I believe those are the characters, I'm assuming.
So this man is prolific, but we're not here to talk about that.
No, we're here to talk about the instant classics, Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
The only reason I mentioned the new one is because it is also heavily influenced by music, which seems to be very important to him in his works.
I did read a thing that said that one of the first things that happened in production of Cowboy Bebop was the scoring, as opposed to the writing or anything else.
All right, well, first of all, we're here. We're being joined once again by our guest, Angela.
Hello.
Would you say she's the show's resident weeb?
Oh.
It's seeming like that.
I mean, this is only my second anime one, though. I was on the Degrassi episode.
She was on the Degrassi
that's true.
episode.
Shit.
She was on.
So you don't self-identify as a enthusiast of Japanese anime culture?
I honestly, if I'm sitting here and thinking about it, I haven't seen that many anime. Probably compared to you guys, at least, because Jonathan will ask questions. Yeah. I'll find like the gold standard ones, and then I told Jonathan I'm really bad at starting new stuff, so this was my first time watching Champloo, but this was like my up-teenth rewatch of Bebop because I just rewatched
Final Fantasy raids.
I gotta raid. I don't have No, I gotta pay
Hey,
attention.
when are we hopping on that free trial?
Oh, they haven't even
not
opened
even
up
a
the free trial yet. Not yet.
Oh, I thought they did.
They reopened sales, not free trial yet. They're waiting to see how the server congestion goes. But yeah, I wouldn't say I've seen that many anime compared to you guys, I think. Because Jonathan will ask me, like, have you seen this?
How many anime do you
and I'm
think
like, no.
we've seen?
Well, how many anime episodes of this podcast have you done?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Was I on that one? Yeah, I was.
Naruto.
I was
See,
also
I've never
on that
seen
one.
either of those, and I will
You've
never.
not seen Naruto?
FMA.
No.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Oh, I've
You
seen
must have
Fullmetal Alchemist. Yeah, well, that's a classic.
We did the Yu Yu Hakusho episode.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. We did.
Wait, no, we
Case
didn't.
Closed.
Yeah, I was like, what? I would have loved to do that show.
I never saw Case Closed.
Let me talk to you about why Kuwabara is the most important character in all of anime.
We did Ranma 1/2.
Yeah, Ranma 1/2.
I actually have never seen that one, which is funny.
You know what's fucked about Yu Yu Hakusho is I've only seen the whole thing in dub.
Yeah.
Because that's what aired on
Yeah,
Toonami.
yeah.
Makes
I never.
sense,
That
yeah.
was never one that I was like, I want to see what this is like in Japanese. I was like, I think I'm good.
I mean, that's how I was for Samurai Champloo until it was released on like Netflix and stuff.
Was that the case? I thought we watched that. Did we not
When
watch
it-
that subbed?
when it was on Netflix, but when I used to watch it on Adult Swim, like with John back in high school, that was definitely
I was telling John too that Cowboy Bebop is actually maybe the only anime that I actually prefer the dub over the Japanese version, and that's a lot of that has to do with the way that Spike is portrayed. I don't like the way he's portrayed in Japanese.
Oh,
Like,
really?
if you,
But isn't that the intent?
Here you go, Angela. Perfect.
yeah, perfect
Yeah.
segue.
You
yeah,
start
lead
for
us
us.
into it. Lead us in.
Oh,
So who do you think
so-
is the best Watanabe character? Go for it, and you
Well-
can talk about you can keep talking about what you were just saying too.
Well, it's Spike Spiegel, number one. And I love how he's portrayed by Steve Blum in the English dub because
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was a
that's
good time to
him.
interject.
What?
All right, I'm looking this up right now.
Yeah, he's the same guy. Are you familiar with Legend of Korra, the voice of Amon? That's him. That's
We are
Spike.
very familiar with
Oh, we did
the
an
Avatar
we did an
universe.
episode on that.
We're actually too familiar. I would prefer
And
to know less.
I argued for Amon as
I
my
know.
character.
I listened to that episode. I listened to
nice.
it.
Thank
I
you.
was sad that I wasn't there for that one, but you know, you didn't have me in mind just yet. I came along
I didn't know.
too late.
Oh, this guy's been in a lot of stuff I love. For instance, Mass
Yeah.
Effect Legendary Edition
There you
as
go.
Grunt. I like him.
No, he does
Classic.
a shitload of voice acting.
All right. Besides his voice, though, what makes Spike Spiegel
He
a
so
compelling character?
it's funny that Bran mentions Inuyasha because I was telling my friend like I'm gonna pick Spike because I think he's like as close to a Moroku but like not as shitty of a person. I love Moroku. I can say that.
Yeah.
I would argue
yeah.
he's a pretty shitty person. But...
He's not. So I mean, he was involved in a syndicate, so you kind of are.
Yeah, organized
like-
crime.
Yeah, you're gonna be like. But I guess my bar for shitty person, like you kill people
Yeah.
for a living, that's fine. But like you know, touch people inappropriately, then that's crossing a line. But I actually like Moroku, so I'm just
Do you think
busting
that
balls.
has to do
Yeah.
with American culture?
Huh?
Yep.
I definitely think that
I
trope
would
is a
argue
very
yes.
Japanese thing. Yeah, it's or
Matt's brought
like
this up, too,
90s
before.
anime trope. But the reason why I say he reminds me of Moroku is because Spike has this very like
Wind tunnel?
yeah. How'd you know? Wait, are you reading my notes right now? Hold on. So
Go ahead.
Wait, you guys have notes?
So he's this attitude that he carries is very like live like it's my last day on earth kind of thing
Oh, yeah.
where he's
He doesn't
just
give a
like
fuck.
yeah like
Real
is
Tim
any of this
McGraw, yeah.
real yeah live like you were dying and he does he lives like he was dying and I'm pretty sure he dies at the end. Spoilers from like 30 years ago, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And if you're listening, you know, I assume
Yeah.
that you would know, but
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah.
say at the front of the podcast
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
we're going to spoil it. So
Oh,
we certainly don't. Yet again, don't put words into my mouth.
so he's that's why it reminded me of that other character from Inuyasha is because he also was like, okay, I've kind of got a death sentence. I'm gonna live.
Oh, yes.
best
life,
I do
I
love that
suppose,
about
yeah.
Moroku. I do love that about
Yeah,
him.
but Spike just has this like extra edge of like melancholy about it, where he's just like,
Oh, yeah.
you get the sense that he like. Well, because the way he got out of the syndicate essentially is he faked his death. Like he was assumed dead,
Not intentionally, though.
not intentionally, but like
he survived and then
he lived. He became a bounty hunter. And he's like, yeah, it's like I died. So I feel like he carries that with him wherever he goes, where he's just like,
yeah,
this is just the epilogue chapter of my life. Who the hell cares what happens? There's a lot of times in these episodes where something happens and he's just like, well, what can be? He like lights a cigarette and he's like, guess this is it.
So this episode doesn't service my character development arc, so I don't care about it.
Yeah. He does randomly go to bat. I mean, he's a very morally good character because he goes to bat. He goes to bat for innocent people all the time.
He does. Sure. They usually see like a situation and him and usually Jet are like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. Forget it.
They give up bounties so often.
Yeah.
It's adjacently self-serving though. That's my point I'm trying to make.
But what happens in these episodes is they either originally go in intending to get a bounty, but what ends up happening is they don't collect on it, or they don't end up collecting on it because either they like sympathize with the person or they're trying to help in some other situation and the person like dies or gets away or something. They always are kind of like, broke again, guess we're eating fucking bell peppers. But like or what happens is they don't want to get involved.
Beef with bell peppers?
Sorry. Yes.
Mushrooms.
Or what happens is they don't want to get involved, and then they're kind of like dragged into it. Like, I don't know, even the episode where you're introduced to Edward, I don't know if anybody picked this character, but like at first they're like, I'm not trying to do, Edward's definitely not the best character. They're not trying to get involved with the satellite thing, but then Ed like kind of sort of gets them on board with it, and it's just a satellite, so like, it's not like a person, but they end up helping out, that kind of thing. So he does a lot of good here and there, but it's always this undertone of like, I'm so sick of this shit, I don't want to do this, but then he does it.
Well, and
he's a reluctant hero.
This show it's a genre bender of like science fiction and like western
space opera
and space opera and all that. It's like a big genre bender.
It's anime Firefly.
And I was listening to one YouTube video essayist who was talking about how like the trope in a Western, the hero is a dead man who like has been in a war and is the only one that survived and basically is just sort of floating. And then in the story, they find something to fight for or live for. And then they almost always die in the end or,
So you see him get that, like, sometimes he comes back to life because he hears like the name Julia or whatever. Right.
Yes.
And you like finally see like that spark back in him.
A lot of ghosts.
Yeah. And then when she finally dies, like, I don't know why I said finally dies, like I was waiting for that. I wasn't. But when she ends up dying,
thank God she died.
She dies at the end. And he's just kind of like, he has that one last like moment with Jet, and it's very human. It's very like, they're just laughing about something, and then Faye is like trying to stop him from doing what he's about to do, and he tells her something like, I'm not going there to die, I'm going there to find out if I'm really alive. That was just like, I think that kind of encapsulates what you were just saying about like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we got to move on to we have to introduce other characters now, but I will say, do you know why his name is Spike?
No, that I don't know.
Because Watanabe thought it was a cool name.
I mean, it is. It's also, it's usually a name for dogs, but I will take it.
Watanabe's entire inspiration for the character you chose was cool guy.
He is so
You wanted
cool.
him to be cool.
Yeah. But you know what's also a really cool name?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Ein.
No, you're not. You are not arguing for
I hate
Ein.
everything about what you choose to be. I hate everything about what you choose to be.
Do it, Matt. Be yourself.
No,
So here's the problem.
Matt,
I legitimately forgot that Angela had selected Spike. So I too was thinking, I was like, shit, Spike is such a cool
God.
So
you said Jet, maybe.
So
hey, let's just team
Jet
up.
Black is also awesome, but here's the problem. Yeah, I'm already heavily biased. This is already off the rails. We're already in a heavy imbalance where I do, and you know how I am about these things.
So we'll have to pull you away from Spike.
It's going to be very difficult. I love that character.
Yeah, well, for good reason.
Okay, so
are you actually arguing for Ein?
No, I do love Ein, but
he's great.
I've said this and we've never done it, but I am fine with people doubling up on characters if it's what you want, I mean, that's fine with me.
I love
We've
Spike.
never done it.
Some other stuff I like about him that Angela didn't talk about. I love how his outfit, or I don't know if this is actually the case, it feels like a
Bran, we're fucked.
a sort of a recall back to Lupin the Third also.
Yeah.
Yes, Watanabe loves Lupin the Third.
There's also a lot of like similarities between the characters in terms of I think the way they're animated.
It's a noir.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, noir, detective type stuff. Love that. Also, I feel like Spike ends up being the inspiration to a lot of characters I also like. Like so many things pull from his character
There are a
in
lot of
anime
people who say
now
they're
because
inspired by Cowboy Bebop.
and you have to be because it is, as you said, the instant classic. I was looking up Brandon, you know Kiritsugu from Fate Zero, the like main guy.
Yeah.
Because I was doing some rewatching of Cowboy Bebop, and I'm like, man, a lot of things about the way that he fights with the gun and all that stuff reminds me of that character also, but there didn't appear to be any connection at all between those two characters. But, you know, I love that character also from the Fate series.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like, fuck. But I honestly did not even remember, and as soon as Angela started talking about it, I'm like, ah, shit, it's fucking over. This is going to be the biggest waste of an hour and 30 minutes because it's already fucking, the conclusion is foregone.
Well, if Brandon and I choose the same character, then it'll be a tie. So we'll see how it goes.
I'm always down for a superhero team up. But I will talk about Ein a little bit as an honorable mention. Love. You know
The
how
corgi.
they're just picking up. He's the first he's the first new crew member, right? That gets introduced.
Yeah, he's in episode 2.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, he gets picked up as like part of a bounty or something, right?
He was responsible for saving Faye in that one episode where she like joins a cult. That was all Ian.
Yeah.
What does he do? I can't remember.
He put on
To save her.
it was like there was I'm gonna just say it was like a VR headset because I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, it is. It basically is.
Jet put it on because it was the whole concept was like you become electrons or whatever and leave your physical body,
yes,
and this is how they recruit you. And it was like really screwing up his head, so he took it off. And then like he puts it on Ein. He's like, dogs have brainwaves, right? And then Ein's just like you just see him like kind of moving like as if he were like. The way he twitches his head is the way in which like the mouse moves and where he clicks. And like before long, Jet is watching this go down and he's like, wow, Edward, that's amazing. And it's like, I'm not doing anything. That's the dog.
Ein is very proficient at navigating the metaverse.
Yeah.
God.
You know, and Faye doesn't. I mean, there's one scene where Faye gets dog food and then eats it in front of him and says, "You gotta work if you want to eat."
Right in front of him. Right in front of him. That actually made me like her a little bit more.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I actually think Faye is my favorite character from Bebop.
That's fair.
But you're not arguing for Faye.
No, I'm not. Well, okay, so before I switch series, I wanted to say that I think it makes sense that both of them prefer Spike. Because in my opinion, unlike Champloo, where all 3 characters feel like main characters, I feel like Bebop is very Spike focused.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Champloo shares a load more.
Yeah, and in this, Spike gets 75% of the attention, and the other characters are support.
Oh, if not more. Absolutely.
So I do think like this series is more skewed towards one character, whereas Champloo, I feel like all 3 of them get a pretty even amount of
screen
story.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I was wondering going into this, because it seemed like even in our pre-conversations, it seemed like Angela and Matt were leaning towards Bebop, and me and you were leaning towards Champloo. And I was wondering if it's just like a nostalgia thing, like whichever one you watch first. Because you and I didn't watch Bebop until we were adults, I think, right?
Yeah, we watched Champloo first.
We watched Champloo first, and I'm wondering, like, maybe that's why we prefer it, is because...
When you said nostalgia, I thought you were talking about like for the history, because they really do a lot of Japanese history in Champloo, which is cool.
Oh, that too. Yeah,
love
that's
that shit.
awesome. I love the intros where it's like there's
Where
one
they
where it's like
Japanese history.
On this day, it was the 400th anniversary of the emperor's birth, but that's not what we're talking about. Like they just drop like little history facts.
I love the episode where they talk about that book of like love and how there's a lot of like homosexuality in it. And
oh, that episode is good. Yeah.
It's so good, dude. And how like you know, all of the like modesty and stuff didn't come until the Europeans did, you know, and all that. I love that shit, dude. I really enjoy the history, the Japanese history that we get from
and
Champloo.
the history about like the the
it's
Christians.
It's so anti-European, and it also has a lot of like Christianity spreading into Japan, which is interesting. Like, but it doesn't put them in a negative or positive light. I think it just does it. It just shows it.
Yeah, like I think even though obviously Christianity came from the Europeans, it's showing the truth of like the persecution that they faced.
Yes,
definitely. From the Shogun. So I mean, I think it gives a pretty fair look at the history.
And your character from Champloo.
Oh, my character though is Jin. I like Jin because he is like the classic samurai character, but he's fallen from grace and is now just living on the road. And I think it might be the first episode where like you see him stand up for this shopkeeper who's being harassed.
Yeah.
And he like saves him from these thugs. But then he like picks up the money that the guy dropped and is like, "This is my fee," and walks off.
He's got a very like.
So like he does good, but he's still like poor and starving. So he's like, I'm still gonna feed myself, but I will help you survive. And it feels very realistic.
What did him and Mugen say to each other? That they're like, yeah, he says I agree when Mugen says it on the very first episode. They're in the stockades, and he says something about.
I think Mugen essentially says something to the effect of like, "I'd rather like,
I'd rather die
on my knees than like stand and like serve or whatever." And that's when Jin's like, for once I agree.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
and I think just their dynamic is entertaining the whole time to me because they're such different people, but they're also always down to fight.
Yes.
For different reasons. Or... Well, but also others.
No, they vow to kill each other from episode 1.
Yeah.
For sure.
Until the very end.
Jin, I think, had one of my favorite episodes that I watched at Champloo.
I know what you're going to say. Brandon, I know what you're going to say. Go for it.
Oh my god, wait, do you? The one where he like helps that one. First of all, this show has a lot of brothel plot lines. But
it really does. There's a lot of gambling.
A lot of brothels, a lot of what's her name, Fu, being like accidentally somehow in a brothel.
Yes.
But it's that one where the lady like helps him catch eels and cook them. And
yes.
Like,
I love that episode.
Yeah, I thought that one was really good. It was very. I wish we'd gotten to see more of like those kind of moments with Jin because I like seeing that humanness come out in him because he is kind of portrayed as like that like he's classic cold samurai who like lives and dies by the blade kind of thing, but like here he is immediately like put in a place of like inferiority because he doesn't know how to like fuck with eels, and this woman shows him something and he becomes very attached and wants to help her, you know, maybe because she helped him.
Yeah, there's a line when he's visiting her, and
because he doesn't want sex.
He tells her that he's not from there. He's like, I'm only stuck here because of the rain.
Yeah, he's like, I wish the rain would
the rain never stops. It's so good.
Yeah,
and she says, like, wow, you're really good at handling those eels.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Why don't you handle this eel? Yeah.
Oh, God.
With him, I wanted more.
That's not what he did.
I loved moments like that. I would have liked even more moments.
Yeah, I agree. I could have used more.
Yeah, because they did kind of keep bringing it back to like, oh, you killed your master, like that kind of plot line, which, to be honest, I didn't really care about that. So I would have liked to see more of just those kind of moments from him. I really liked that episode.
You can't humanize him too much because there's only like 20-something episodes.
He's got the Ned Stark.
And what I like about it as well is for a second it seems like he's just gonna run away with her. And give up his responsibility, but then in the end, he sends her on her way, but stays with his friends.
Yep.
So he still saves her without essentially anything in return.
Yes,
he doesn't get to be with her. He's just doing it for the sake of helping.
Yes, that's what's amazing about it. But I do like. There's like episode 2 or 3. Him and Mugen both abandon Fu.
Yeah, they just split.
Yeah, they like make contact and they just count to 3 and book it.
Yeah, I felt like that kind of happened a couple times.
Yes.
Oh God, it's like Looney Tunes level of fucking.
They do try to leave her many times.
Yeah.
What was the thing that bound them to her service in the first place? I don't even remember what it was.
Them when they were supposed to be executed.
She told them, "You have to help me with my to help me find the sunflower samurai.
Okay, yeah, I remember
And-
that.
Yeah, she breaks him out.
Oh, okay,
and
yeah, that makes sense.
and then at the end they're like, well, first we have to fight each other, and she says, I'll flip a coin. If it's heads, you kill each other now. If it's tails, you help me find the sunflower samurai, and then you can kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
And she flipped the coin and she lied to them. She told them it was tails, but it was
in the
heads.
end, she says it was a lie. And then they just kind of laugh.
Also,
And
what's
I
with
also like
Separate.
you do get the fight in quotes at the end,
Yeah,
but
it's
they're
bullshit.
just both
It's
so
bullshit.
fucked up that they just
Yeah.
collapse.
They cut each other's swords in half,
Yeah, and then
Yep.
which I think is a symbol or a metaphor of like equality in battle.
think so?
Like, I think so. I'm pretty sure it's a trope of like if the
is it?
swords both break, then it's like your equivalent.
So it's like when your Chidori and your Rasengan cancel
Exactly.
out. So,
I hate this.
I was
Yes.
gonna make the comparison,
Please don't.
between
but
who,
this
Sasuke
was so
and
much.
Naruto?
But this is so much better.
Yeah.
Because at the end of this, they wake up and they're like, you know what? For the first time,
Yeah.
I don't feel like fighting. I feel like I have friends.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that Jin said that.
Telling me friendship was the greatest treasure all along.
Yeah.
Of course, it's about the friends you make along the way.
You can
It
tell
really
we haven't
is.
recorded in like 3 or 4 months because the format is completely fucking
Yeah,
shot.
it is. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I haven't introduced my character
30
at all.
minutes
but-
in.
We've been
Who's
talking
your
about both
character?
of our characters, but yeah, let's switch to you.
Look, I was split with the characters that were left. That I thought Faye or Mugen were both pretty good options.
I really like Mugen as well. And
I think I love what I love about Faye is her backstory is really cool and interesting, and
Yeah.
is it
I like-
cool?
it's interesting and it's funny that they make the episode like that reveals her backstory like a comedy. You know, like literally, I thought that Matt was going to select this character as his favorite character. What's the fucking dude's
lawyer?
name? The Zap Brannigan-esque fucking
Yeah.
dude. His name's Whitney Haggis Matsumoto.
Yes.
And I was like, I wrote in my notes, Matt Sin would like this guy because he reminds me of Zap Brannigan.
Yeah,
I was thinking
he
of picking the black
He
dude
conned-
from the Bounty Show, but I thought that was a little
Yes.
too out of pocket.
No, Punch. His name's Punch.
Is it? Okay.
And I wrote here, Punch and Judy are actually my favorite characters.
God.
Oh, God.
But yeah, he cons Faye into taking on his debt. And then
Yep.
he appears later with fat implants. So it reminded me of the episode, like anytime Zap Brannigan cons Leela into sleeping with him or something. you know?
Yeah.
Is the situation... I guess it must be, right? There's too many parallels.
Yes, he's very much like Zap Brannigan, in my opinion. Sorry to interrupt the episode, folks. This is John here. I just wanted to say thank you for listening. I know this is a long one, but we've got a lot to say about Watanabe and his characters. If you stick to the end, we will select the best character from Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. And if you enjoy the episode, please check out some of the other ones. We mention a lot of the anime episodes we do, but we cover tons of different shows, games, movies, books. Subscribe to the podcast, check out the rest of them, and then follow us on social media at YFCS Pod to find out what's coming up next. All right, that's it. Back to the show.
So what's your character? Did you ever select a character?
I still want to talk about Mugen, I guess. I don't know. I want to talk about both. I think
Yeah.
it's going to be just Jin versus Spike is really what this
Yeah.
Why
episode's
don't you just?
gonna
Why don't
be.
we just take the stance then, right
We'll
now?
definitely.
Yo, team up with Bran. Let's go. Drop the papers.
Jin versus Spike is what it's going to be, but I do love Mugen.
Yeah, we
and-
still need to discuss Mugen and Faye
Let me talk about
because they're
Mugen.
both great characters.
All right, so let me say what I love about Mugen, which is that there's a little bit of me in him where if you tell him that he can't do something,
yeah.
he's like "fuck you" and he does it.
Yeah.
And so of course
Yeah,
I
the
sympathize.
Narutos.
I sympathize with that. No, I'm not Naruto.
You tell me you don't
No.
have a ninja way.
I don't know. I know. Yeah, he refuses to step on the image of Jesus as they approach a new town because he doesn't like being told what to do.
Yeah.
He's not. It's not because he cares about Christianity. It's because he doesn't
Yeah.
want someone to tell him to step on something.
Yeah.
That's why he won't do it. And then Jin tells him that starting this pointless squabble has proven his vast stupidity.
Well, he is very dumb.
Yeah, no, he is not smart. He's illiterate. He's literally illiterate. Literally.
He and I also share
He
that in
was
common.
raised on an island of criminals.
Yeah, exactly.
Spacey's like Bane.
Yes.
Yeah, he was born in the dark.
Oh my
What
God.
I love about Mugen is
Yeah.
I think his character does the best job out of any of the characters maybe of taking the music and the scoring which I think is hip hop, right?
Yes.
And then adapting it to his character.
Oh yeah, no, his fighting style is like breakdancing.
His fighting style is literally just breakdancing
so
and sword
good.
fighting. He's got the best action scenes, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones with Jin are pretty cool, but I mean, there's only so many ways you can see
for action,
Just
Mugen
chop.
is much more interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
When
they
claps
describe
up people with his like
style
sandals and shit too.
Like you overwhelm your opponents with your like unpredictable.
What is it called? Not spontaneous. Improvisation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the same things that we see in like
So
like
Mugen
Drunken
is
Fist
jazz.
and all that, like this and that, right?
And also, in contrast to Jin, Mugen pays for sex, and then it turns out the sex worker is a ninja, but he likes that she's trying to knock him unconscious, and he mistakes it for rough play.
Yep.
And so
God.
then he proceeds to fight her back, and she kicks him in the groin with all the force of a sledgehammer. And and then she keeps promising him sex, and the whole episode she basically is like, if you attack those men for me, then we'll do it. And so he beats up an entire room of men without his sword. They're all armed, and he beats them up without his sword, all in order to have sex with her.
Yeah.
Oh God.
She uses sex motivation
He's such
to
an
make him
idiot.
defeat
So-
he defeats an entire counterfeiting operation unarmed because of the promise of sex that he never receives from this woman.
The way Spike is like a cooler, less perverted Moroku, and the way that Mugen is like
Yeah.
Moroku turned up to like 80 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
God.
also, I love the two-parter with.
Fuck it, I'm arguing for Mugen. I love him.
Do it.
Mugen's awesome.
No,
He's
the part
good.
with
I
the
love
with the
Mugen.
blind lady.
Yeah.
So, that starts off seeming like he just has, another perverted infatuation. But then, like, as it goes, like, I think it becomes apparent that he actually cares about her because
Well, Mugen has a heart sometimes.
he's crushed when he kills her.
Yeah.
And she reveals the truth and also reveals sort of the similarities between them.
Yeah.
And yeah, he seems heartbroken. And I thought that was like a really good humanizing
Yes.
scene for that character, which you don't really get much.
Mugen has a heart, and he fucking hates it. Like he wishes he didn't, because there's so many moments every time he has to like follow his heart, he is like, God damn it, and then he goes and like does the thing
like he
that knows
always
he's supposed
goes
to do.
back for Fu. Mm-hmm. But when he shows up,
He calls her a bitch.
Yeah, he's like,
he straight up
where
calls
are you,
her.
bitch? But he,
Yeah.
but he's still,
I love his mouth.
he's still doing it because he cares.
He God dang it. He saves Japan from the Americans by winning a baseball game.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Single
forgot there
handedly.
was a baseball.
Yes, there's a baseball.
He breaks the pride of the Americans and makes them fear the Japanese people.
That was
God.
like either the third or fourth to last episode of the show,
Yes,
and I just
yeah. It's
remember
so
getting
random.
to that, and I wanted to message you guys like, why is
Like,
this so
what's going on?
disjointed? Why are
It's
we
so
not at
random.
like the climax of the series?
And like
what
right
is
before
happening?
that is the zombie episode.
Yeah.
I'll
Be
tell you
greater
why.
than fighting imperialism.
I'll
Nothing.
tell you why. I'm telling you, this is like a love letter to Japan. Watanabe is really like, every episode is very like, I love my country, and also I love what it was before the Europeans came.
Yeah.
And it's
But
really
that
cool,
being
man.
said, there is a very large Western influence on the show
yeah.
itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I don't think
Oh yeah, rap, hip hop.
I don't think everything is necessarily anti. Like,
oh no.
we were talking about the episode with the gay Dutchman.
Yes,
He's
he's European. Yeah.
you're meant to sympathize with him, and Japan sort of forces him to leave because he's a foreigner.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, Mugen wins that baseball game by knocking all of the American players unconscious with his pitches.
Like I said, I don't remember a lot of the specifics, but I do remember that it was the most random episode.
it's
I
so
think.
random.
It's very random. Because
I feel like you could take that episode out and put it maybe anywhere in the back half of the show, and it'd be fine.
No, Angela's right. I think it's like the last ep before the like 3-part finale.
Yes, it is.
It's so random.
So give me one moment. I promise I will stop talking about this baseball episode. But like,
There's no
on
need.
this
Keep
baseball
going.
episode, they use the fucking Airbud rules
Oh my
because they have a dog, and the dog joins their team, and like the American guy goes, well, there's nothing in the rule book that says a dog can't play. He literally
Oh my God.
uses the
Holy
Airbud line.
shit.
And then they get an old man on their team also. Like they're just getting, And the old man breaks his hip on the way to the plate. He doesn't even get to the plate.
God.
And then he goes, Fu like bends over and she's like, "You okay?" And he goes, "It's okay. Step over my corpse and move on to a brighter tomorrow."
Yes.
He dies, yeah?
It's so good.
Yeah, and then like one of the Europeans like slams his bat on the ground and makes it like cracked. And then when he hits the ball, it splinters and shoots fucking splinters into the guy and like literally just impales him. I'm like, dude, this is so insane.
Japanese people love baseball, though, right? Isn't that like
Yes.
a thing?
Yes, exactly. Oh, yeah, for sure.
After Americans,
which is
aren't they
why you
the-
have to have a baseball episode. Yeah, where they beat the Americans. It's so dope.
I'd like to think that this episode inspired Shohei to come to America playing in the
Definitely.
major leagues.
That's what did it. When you were talking about, Angela, the scenes in the brothels,
Yeah.
I was gonna say like if Game of Thrones and Samurai Champloo are to be believed, like rape culture is thriving in medieval times. Like
man.
it's
Yes.
Wild.
For real.
it is rampant.
That's
That
what I don't
No,
get.
the fact that they get sold to the brothel to cover their husband's debt is so fucked
Oh well,
up.
that
so
is messed
fucked.
up. Yeah,
Is that real? Is that legit?
that's
Something
what
that happened?
that's what I would assume. I mean,
What
the
is
show
this,
is
Edo
pretty
period,
good,
right? I guess we could look it up, but...
Yeah, the show's pretty good. There's no way to look it up, Matt.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, just like there's no way to figure out what Watanabe did on
I
the show.
have the Encyclopedia Britannica. Just say the
Oh,
word.
okay.
I'll
Yeah. Open up your fucking encyclopedia.
load up the CDs and then...
As opposed to me liking Jin's human moments and not really caring so much about his backstory, I feel the opposite with Mugen. I really liked the episode where he's like he meets his old, I don't know, comrades, whatever
Yeah.
they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the ending of that episode was just
Damn.
super duper powerful, and all of that just like painting more of a picture about who he is as a character based on his backstory. I really liked that. I wanted to learn more and know more about where he's been, because
Nope.
then I feel like you just take that and you just know why he is the way he is,
When he
right?
finds out that the girl betrayed him,
Yeah,
and
that
just
was
there's
great.
that build up when she thinks he's gonna kill her, and
Yeah.
he just walks
He
past
just
and
walks past her.
doesn't
She
even
asks him to.
acknowledge her.
Yeah, that was
It's
real
so
good.
good.
There were definitely a few moments where I was like, "Damn, that's good." Overall, I didn't love the show. I didn't love it.
What, Mugen? Or
No,
Samurai
the show in general.
Oh, yeah.
But there were a couple like takeaway standouts, and that was one of them for
Yeah.
Mugen especially.
Mugen also does not save Fu in the first episode until she offers him 100 dumplings.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And
Why
then he
is
says,
everything
wow,
so food motivated in both these?
Oh yeah.
there's
Yeah.
Both
There's also-
groups are just constantly starving.
There's also
Yes.
only like 5 people in the restaurant that he has to fight. And he says, "Wow, you guys aren't worth much. That's like 5 dumplings a pop." She offered him
He
100
can't
dumplings.
read and he can't do math.
Yeah.
No, it's so
And he fights while eating the dumplings? No? Is
okay.
that what happens?
And correction, he can read 1 letter.
Oh.
He does say whenever they open up her diary, he says he can read 1
Well,
letter.
and
He knows
there's
one
the
letter.
graffiti episode where he learns to read, right? Or
Yes, he does. That one guy is like, "You better learn to read," and like
yes,
forces him to learn.
That
Oh, I
episode is also
forgot.
dope.
I
pretty good.
forgot that series, even though it's so short, had a like filler episode that was just like a recap episode, and I hate
Oh,
those
he
so
did. I
much.
hate that.
Definitely
I hate
skip that
recap
shit.
episodes.
That does suck. I
Always
didn't
skip
like
the
that.
recap.
That's usually
Always skip the
an,
recaps.
it's usually an indicator, I think, of like budget issues, because I know that's what happened with Legend of
No
Korra.
way.
Yeah, Legend of Korra in the last season, they had a recap episode, and it was specifically because of the budget, because you just
No,
reuse.
I believe that, but
Yeah,
I wouldn't believe that for these people. This
Oh.
studio.
I don't know exactly when did this series actually come out, because there have been a lot of times, including now.
09? 08, 09?
No, this is 2004, bro.
Oh, really?
2004.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
I
were
was
in
gonna
high
say,
school
I
when
do,
this
I
was
do think
airing
it's
on
older
Adult
than
Swim.
that. But a lot of animation studios in Japan have huge like budget issues. Like they have to. I mean, you're seeing that with Attack on Titan right now, right? Like,
Oh, every anime now. I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking about that when I was doing a couple, like I was hitting all the episodes I liked in Cowboy Bebop. There weren't very many. I always point out whenever I watch anime with other people, I'm like, oh, this is a budget thing, because I'm basically looking at a still picture with some
Yes.
text on it.
yeah,
Yes.
I point that out a lot too.
Especially when Brandon and I were doing a rewatch we were trying to get through Attack on Titan in season 1.
I was surprised. I did not remember how many
Literally.
scenes like that.
Every episode, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this
They
is
It's
just
just
still
a panning
pictures.
still of like the,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
characters with like tons of dialogue.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. I mean, the market is saturated. right?
Yeah. I didn't see any budget issues when they were working on Bebop in terms of like full episodes being affected.
Well,
No, that's what I'm saying. There weren't any.
Apparently, they had Bandai Toy Division produce the show.
Oh yeah, because they made a bunch of they made like the space toys, spaceships.
Yeah, the reason that they said make a show that has spaceships in it so that we can sell spaceships.
Yep.
Hey, Star Wars. Money off of Gundams or what?
And Watanabe in an interview said that they told him, as long as there's a spaceship in the show, you can do whatever you want.
Oh hell yeah!
The show is named after the spaceship, so he really gave it to him.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's extra credit.
And now it is the highest ranked anime on like mini lists I was looking at.
Like I said, I think that it's not my favorite anime, but I will admit it's probably the best anime.
It's definitely up there.
It's like top 10 for me of my favorite anime, but I would argue that from a purely objective standpoint, it's probably the best anime.
On IMDb's top 250 television shows of all time, it's number 25.
I believe
Just television in general?
Television, period.
I believe
it's
it.
Number 25.
Yeah, so the thing is, I think a lot of people, when you talk about the best anime of all time, they'll throw out stuff like Cowboy Bebop, they'll talk about
FMA.
NGE, they'll talk about Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood also.
Yeah.
And those shows are all really good, but what I think Cowboy Bebop does much better than all the other shows is just the music.
Oh,
yes.
so
It's just
good.
That's what I'm saying. The music is
The
memorable
music in
in
both
that
of
show.
these shows is
I was
incredible.
listening to that soundtrack.
The intro, you can't skip the intro on
Are you talking
either
about
show.
Tank?
It's so good.
Or
Tank, and then the intro to Champloo. I don't even know what it's called, but I love it.
oh yeah, no, amazing. I think Tank
It
might
gets me
be the
in.
most recognized anime
Yeah.
OST of all. Well, besides maybe Cruel Angel's Thesis. Those two, like the top two.
Yeah.
But Tank's much better in my opinion.
And Bebop has so many, like, it's not even just the usual scores that play throughout the episodes during action scenes and stuff. There's like episodes where they have some breathtaking songs, like the end of the Jupiter Jazz episodes. There's like this beautiful song that plays. The end of the final episode, this beautiful song. Like, oh, it's so good. I could listen to those soundtracks forever.
Also,
there's
I
a
feel
song
like
from both season actually that like just felt really powerful. And for Bebop, for me actually, it's the ep when Ed leaves.
Oh, I love that.
And Ein, don't forget.
Yeah, and
Yes.
it's really sad. And then they play like this good song that just perfectly fits the mood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then in Champloo, there's like this awesome traditional sounding Japanese song when Mugen's dying, when he gets betrayed by his
I know
old
you're talking
friends. Like
Yeah.
both of those songs, I'm like, damn, y'all are really hitting the emotional moments.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because I can't even remember any of the songs from other quote-unquote top anime.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I agree. As much as like something like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood,
All I'm saying is the plot has to carry those animes, but I think that...
As much as I love things like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, there's no songs aside from, you could argue, like openings and endings, but I'm saying even outside of that. I'm
There
saying
is an
just
instrumental
songs.
from
I don't-
FMA called Battle
Balls.
Scherzo that it goes incredibly hard.
Okay. No, I'm not saying the music doesn't go hard, but I can't, like, off the top of my head, like, start humming anything.
It is like instrumental background music though, whereas like these other shows have legitimate songs with lyrics.
Also, what was I going to say? I feel like Bebop's, a lot of the sessions are like musically named, no?
All
They
of them,
are,
I think.
yeah.
All of them, yeah. It's,
maybe
it's a
not all
session.
of them.
It's a session of
Yeah,
music. is what
session.
we're
That's.
hearing,
I thought that's. It's kind of pretentious, but it is cool.
Yeah, it is, but it's neat.
I mean, it's not pretentious though, because it's regarded as one of the greatest anime of all time. So it's not even like.
Oh, yeah.
Right? At that point, it's just good. It's just incorporated.
Let's talk about Faye and Spike. Not Faye and Spike, Faye and Jet.
Oh, we could talk about
I do want to say Spike says that he hates three things: animals, kids, and women with attitude.
Yeah.
And then they get Ein, Ed, and Faye.
Yeah, I love that. And what I was gonna say, like going off of that really quick, is Brandon was saying how Champloo is so good at like having all of the characters be like equal
main characters. Yeah,
but I don't buy their dynamic nearly as much as I buy the dynamic.
I think
in Bebop.
that's true. I think that is true.
For exactly what you just said about how that was like the first thing Spike says after they get Ed on board. And you can see that reluctance a lot of the times, but then there's so many moments that show like he actually does care. Like him looking like that poignant and smoking a cigarette while looking down and seeing like the message that Ed wrote when she leaves.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Just,
that whole scene when they leave is very good. And then it goes to Spike and Jet just like stuffing their face because they finally have food, but they have no one to eat it with. It's so good.
But sorry,
I do think Ed is a random addition. I think.
Yeah,
I don't
Ed
really
was strange character.
Ed was very strange. I loved her when I was younger.
I think you need Ed because I do think Ed does add something to the show, but I do also think that. Well, I do. I think that there's
adds more than Ed.
I think that the hacker stuff is cool. They were able to explore a lot more stuff by having a hacker on the ship. Spike?
Ein can literally do all that shit because he's a data dog.
John,
like when Ed gets in touch with the like chess guy and like Ed uses the hacking skills every now and then. I think that's
and the
good.
mushroom episode sort of centered around Ed.
That was pretty funny.
What were you gonna say about Jet and Faye?
Well,
I like Jet a lot too.
Well, and I think this kind of goes with the whole Japanese work culture thing. Is that I think that all of the characters on all of this show, all of these shows, are kind of have no purpose. Or don't know what their purpose is.
Yeah.
Oh,
like it's very opposite from Naruto, where it's like there's not like a I know my destiny kind of thing.
They're
like,
just working to survive.
They're all on board.
They're literally just trying to secure their next meal.
They're trying to eat.
They're living their lives after their lives. Like these are all their like extra chapters that they didn't plan on writing.
Sure. Especially for Jet.
What's weird about it is like, and that's the thing that's weird to me about both endings is that I do feel like the lesson that I kind of learned from it is that the purpose of life is not that you have, a goal that you're reaching towards, but it's like the people that you surround yourself.
The
people you surround yourself with
absolutely,
and the experiences you have. And then I guess the lesson at the end of both is that comes to an end and it doesn't have, it can't last forever. I don't know. Because in Samurai Champloo, they all at the end acknowledge how they valued each other's companionship and then they just walk away. Yeah, it's so. Yeah, I don't know if we're supposed to learn that. Yeah, the journey is the destination, and that
I don't know about that either.
I don't love either ending really.
Oh, I love Bebop's ending.
You want it to be like tied up in a nice
little bow. Okay, the reason I don't like Bebop's ending goes into what I was saying about Spike definitely being the main character.
Oh, okay.
It's like I don't think Faye and Jet get a proper send-off.
No, I don't think so.
Absolutely
it's just
they don't.
Them being sad that Spike leaves, and then he gets his epic moment, and you don't even see the other characters again.
Well, so the whole thing about them. So the episode before that was Ed's send-off, right? And then in that same episode was also Faye finally learning or remembering
her
about
past.
where she came from, and she goes to where
she gets each episode they get an episode.
But in that episode, she goes to where she remembers. Like I'm assuming that was like her home.
There's nothing.
And there's nothing there.
Yeah, there's nothing
and so I think that was her send off in a way.
That episode is sad.
She's coming to terms with the fact that like my past is gone and I have nothing from the past to go back to. I don't belong.
But I feel like that finally frees her.
It does.
It frees her to accept the crew of the Bebop as her
what's
people.
So cool.
But that's what she does.
Then,
she goes
and then
she
immediately split apart.
But that's true. But that's true about every character on both of these series. Is that they, as soon as they finally overcome their demons or their loss, like what they feel like they're losing. As soon as they overcome that, they finally realize like, oh yeah, I need to live in the moment. I need to value these people, and then then they go their separate ways. That's what I'm saying. It's very.
I don't know if I necessarily like that because
it's like Spike to go.
No, it sucks.
These people help you get to where you need to be and then you leave.
But that I think in Champloo's case it was like mutually understood, like okay, that's it, bye. And then in Bebop's case, Faye like holds a gun to Spike's head and is like, where are you going and why are you going? Like I finally let go of the past, and you're always telling me I need to do that, and now you're leaving.
Holding on to the past.
And he's like, and that's when he gives her the line of like, well, I'm not going there to die. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive. And she like is so upset that she's just like starts firing the gun off the ship, which
there's also another parallel that, in my opinion, leans more towards Jin than Spike. is they both have these moments involving women they care about. We already talked about the Jin moment. But for Spike, you know, Jet is straight up like, if you go, don't come back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got to do what I got to do.
Which he never means.
And he leaves, and he doesn't go back until she dies. So it's unlike where Jin is like, you know what, I do need to stay with my friends. For Spike, it's more like Julia really was his top priority.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But
he just
isn't it
kinda,
that way
and then
in real life,
he just
though?
kind of goes crawling back to his friends because he's down when she's dead.
So I don't interpret it that way. The way I interpret it is he was trying to get away from a lot of things, but Julia, I don't think he was ever trying to get away from.
Yeah.
But she, just like
He
Vicious,
thought she was dead or something. He couldn't find her.
Yeah, and just like Vicious, she's a link to his past, and so that's why I think he comes back one more time. Is like she's gone, and he needs to tie up everything. He needs to
Just
be done
to
with his
eliminate
past,
his whole
and
past.
really be done. And so that's the last time he comes back, and Jet doesn't tell him like, if you leave, don't come back.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't give him any of the shit that he normally gives
Yeah, at
in
that
all the
point
other
he
episodes.
knows.
At that point, you know, and I think that that's also in a way like as Spike centric as it is, that's also one of Jet's send offs because that's his role in that crew is he's the mom. he's the mom.
Same because he cooks and
Well,
cleans and
yeah,
He's
he's
just
the
a
mom.
ride or
drives them
die,
around to all
dude.
their
Like,
baseball games.
Yep.
Jet
that dude
That's him.
is the best friend you can have.
He's great.
Jet,
But-
he's a wounded paladin.
Yeah.
Dude, that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yes.
But
I said the
that's-
reason I love Jet, and I don't know if maybe Brandon can attest to this, but I love the archetype of paladin in Dungeons and Dragons
Yes.
a
Yeah.
lot, and I think Jet is literally just a paladin.
He only expects the bad in people who he thinks are bad.
Yeah.
And he only thinks the good in people who he thinks are
Yes.
good. And so he trusts his partners like way too much.
Oh yeah, he's got a very black and white
Yep.
sort of sense of
He,
morality.
he doesn't realize that his partner fucked him over until way later.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he thinks that his ex-girlfriend is like a saint until he realizes that she's not. Like he is so he's got his blinders on. You know, he's just he thinks
he's just too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's too good.
Yeah, it's his greatest strength, but also his greatest flaw. That's
he
how
tells
it always
Spike
is with paladins.
Yeah.
He tells Spike, you know, you can't come back after on the jazz episode, and then he says, when Spike comes back, or he said without the bounty or something like that, you can't come
don't
back.
come back
Yeah.
empty-handed. And then he's like,
And
"What
he
do you
comes
have?"
back, he says, "What do you have?" And he says, "Nothing."
He's like,
and he
"All
goes,
right,
"Come in."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so.
Yeah,
Come on, get
he's
inside,
not,
it's
he's not
getting
gonna
cold.
say no.
Yeah, soup's ready. Now that's why his send off, I think, for that was like they share that very human moment together. They're eating, they're laughing, and he doesn't try to stop Spike. He knows he can't.
Yeah.
He finally accepts like he's got to deal with his demons. There's
Yeah.
nothing in this world I can do that will stop this man. No matter and my threats are empty because of course I'm gonna welcome him back. I'm never gonna be done with him.
But
It's not that I have
Jet-
a
Jet
problem with Spike so much as that I just want
Yeah.
more to see more from Jet and Faye. I think.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
sure.
But I think
Jet?
that their moments
I
together.
mean, Faye's already showing quite a bit.
Oh wow. Okay.
What do you want to see?
That is true.
It's a very revealing outfit.
Is it?
Yes.
That's why I think
Is it?
you
I don't even think it's
sacrifice
that
the
bad.
you sacrifice the shared like screen time, even though they all have like episodes dedicated to just them.
Mhm.
You sacrifice that for like more believable bonding moments and like more relationship development. I think, which is why I said I can believe that
True. But
that
so what I was
relationship more
thinking,
than the
since
Champloo relationship.
I committed to what I was saying. I watched these shows. I was alternating
Right.
to see,
Oh, you
so I
did?
could see the
Wow.
progression
I-
side by side.
That's so interesting, and I could just never.
It was very weird. But so in the end of Champloo, you know, we're seeing all three characters
Yes.
sort of approaching this finale. And so what I could have seen in Bebop, obviously, you know, that ending is very personal to Spike, but since they're like such a close-knit crew, I could definitely see like Jet and Faye helping him get to Vicious. You know what I mean? Like they
Right.
could have been in that fight
Yeah.
And like they could have been
he fights his way through an army.
They could have been dealing with the cronies while he's having his one-on-one,
like a suicide mission type.
No, but there
thing.
could have been like a Han Solo on the trenches of the on the trenches of the Death Star kind of thing. Like
when Shin came in for like 1 second, then died.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like
I think
that was a lot less meaningful than if it was one of them.
I think Spike recognized, though, that was his shit that he's got to tie up, and that's it. Like, I don't think that he would have even let them.
He wouldn't want them to go anyway. But exactly, I feel like a
good friend would go anyway.
Like, based on that final interaction between him and Faye, I really expect her to follow him against his will and show up.
Well, that's the thing. Do you respect your friend's wishes, or do you go against their wishes in their best interest?
I don't know. What
would you? Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. But what would you guys do?
I mean, if you think your friend is going to certain death, and
you have the power to do something.
Yeah,
about
if you actually care, you show up. I don't know.
And he definitely took. I don't know if this was ever explained in the show. He definitely took the hardest way to get to Vicious.
Well, I think their ships were damaged. I remember Jet saying, like, because Faye was going to go somewhere.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, he was like, your blah, blah, blah is blown out or whatever. And
he could have just get into his little starfighter and just...
I think they did give some backstory as to why, there couldn't be more than just Spike going on his ship. Yeah. And that was it.
Yeah, this guy takes 3 grenades, 3 little bits of C4, and 4 clips in his what is it? It's like a Luger or whatever, and he just fucks up that entire scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want this to be too much of like me lifting up Bebop and criticizing Champloo for this.
I'll cut everything you say out.
Okay, all right, sounds good. But what I would like to say is, whereas Bebop's ending was built up at several points throughout the series, you know that it's based around there's flashbacks from Spike's past that come back in that episode, and there's several points in the series where they reference or they just outright show like Vicious and all that. I felt like for Champloo, and that maybe this is like, hold on, let me get to it. I didn't know who was the guy Mugen was fighting. Never heard of these people.
I will agree with you on that.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy that Jin was fighting? Never heard of this man.
That makes
sense. And we find the sunflower dude. It's her dad. He's sick on a bed. It's absolutely worthless at that point. But that's the point, right? It's subverting expectations. Probably. I don't know. I hated when The Last Jedi did that, so I'm gonna hate it when this does it too.
Oh, I hate The Last Jedi.
But it's just like I'm just like. What? These are the final fights?
Okay, I partially agree.
These people with no, like, I don't know who they are. I thought that dude was going to be the sunflower guy because they show him the government hitman or whatever.
I think they're trying to throw us.
Yeah, I think they were trying to throw us, but it just made me frustrated because I'm like,
here's why I like Jin's ending more, because
Jin's was very interconnected.
Yeah, it was still very much related to the plot, whereas Mugen's was like, hey, here's 3 disgruntled sailors that you screwed over in the past.
Yeah.
But they're somehow on your level.
Yeah.
Which
I didn't buy that for a second.
That didn't really make sense, and I agree.
I thought he killed all 3 of them, so they weren't on his level.
They were literally not on his level.
No, but they kicked his ass. He's never gotten his ass beat like that before.
But he had to throw his sword down to rescue Fu. That's the reason.
No, for sure. But
I still thought it was said that Mugen's not even that great of a fighter. He's just like unpredictable.
No, he uses his improvisation.
After seeing his fight, so obviously there's the 2 fillers with the zombie and the baseball in between. But story-wise, directly before this is his fight with the blind lady who's meant to assassinate him.
Yes.
And she's like incredibly strong.
Yeah.
And so going from that to like these 3 randos.
Yeah.
I agree. That fight felt less meaningful to me.
Yeah.
But I was pretty interested in the guy, with Jin. Because he they showed like that guy's the one that ordered his master to change the direction of the school.
Well, he's the reason that Fu's dad is in hiding.
And that. Yeah. Like he's very much related to both of those characters.
Yeah, but he just pops up like I could also just invent a character at the very end who is somehow related to these past things. He gets introduced
on I think 5 or 6 episodes before the end, I think they show him.
I think the first
time... When the blind chick dies, after the blind chick dies, that's whenever he gets introduced.
Yeah, and he's like, I guess I'll have to take this upon myself.
But that's very different from, like, Vicious's introduction in, like, episode 5 of Bebop. Sure. And then he comes back in the Jupiter Jazz episodes, which is, like, the midway point, and then again at the end, and then referenced here and there. Like,
but
that
I
just
definitely
felt like a very
agree.
different
But what
build-up.
I'll say is, I think maybe just because it has historical basis of like fortifying the shogunate and suppressing, the Christians and stuff. That feels more meaningful to me than Vicious just being like, "Hey, I want to be a powerful mob boss."
Yeah. Also, I think that the show does truly have a message of it's not about the destination. Like, I truly do think that's what the show.
It's just vibing,
that's one of the
bro.
things. Because it's supposed to just be like vibing. Because first of all, the fact that sunflowers don't have a scent means that the only clue to finding the person is meaningless. So it's like,
do sunflowers not have a scent?
That's what they say.
That's what at the end of the show they say. There's no such such scent.
That,
so you can't.
After all of this,
I would question that in real life, though.
Which means that the destination was impossible from the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
sure. I can
so
get
it's
behind
like
that.
really the point of the show is not to ever find the samurai with the sunflower smell.
But
the point of the show is to be with each other and to, help each other through on your journey.
Well,
and I know they do find them, but
I think it's part of Fu's motivation as well. You start to see her admit this towards the end, where she's like, "I don't want this trip to end."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Because for two
she
reasons:
also-
one, she doesn't want to lose her friends who have come together over this job, but also she's like, despite all of these years of wanting to confront my dad,
exactly. Yeah,
I'm actually pretty afraid to do it. I'm not ready for that to actually happen.
She didn't leave until she didn't want to leave until she met Mugen and Jin, which again, the whole point is like it was never about the mission. It's about being with the right people and them inspiring you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we all have something that is hard to obtain or unobtainable in our lives, and maybe we reach for that, and maybe we never get it or not. Maybe we do, but it's really what's more important is like the time we spend with the people that we.
Well,
we
and
have
it's
nearby,
because she's forced out of her comfort zone because they burned down the place she worked, and
That's
she
true.
was like,
That's a
Maybe
motivator.
it's because she's homeless, Jonathan.
that's
a motivator.
They're homeless.
They're all
They're hungry.
homeless, yeah.
There's food insecurity everywhere in these shows.
Both series, yeah. Watanabe must have been starving
exactly.
as
That's
a
what
young
I
man.
wonder. Because
And he must have had some really good people around and like give him the random, bowl of soup every now and then.
Also, is
music
it kinda
must have
weird-
gotten him through his tough times because
for
he
sure.
loves good music.
Speaking about Samurai Champloo, is it kind of weird that there's so many brothel episodes with Fu when she's like a child?
Is she?
She's
She's
15.
like 15.
They say
Oh, is
she's
she? I didn't
15,
know.
which is
Back then, that's like 30 though.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
well in that case,
Well, also, I mean, like, uncomfortable sexual content with minors is not uncommon in anime, unfortunately.
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
guess we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, as much
Yep.
as we don't like it, it seems kind of common.
Yeah, I guess I can't.
'Cause, I
have
mean,
a
the same
problem
could be
with
said.
this,
I think
yeah.
we even talked about it, like in Inuyasha. Kagome
Yeah.
is like 14 and she's getting felt
Or
up
Gurren Lagann.
by people
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah. On Cowboy Bebop, and to a lesser extent Samurai Champloo, every character they come into contact with fucking dies. Like,
Yeah.
they're like a cancer on the universe. Like,
Yeah.
everywhere they go, they just kill. Like, people are just dying.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that by the end of Champloo.
So many
There's like
characters dead.
3 times where Fu like really connects with a character and then they end up
Mm-hmm.
dying. Both of these groups definitely just
Leave a path of
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
What do y'all think about that one guy with the top hat who's afraid of cats who almost kills?
Perot?
Yeah, what
that
the
was-
fuck?
that
I don't,
episode
I don't know
was
that I
so-
like
that's
that.
one of the
good
most
app.
highly rated episodes.
I don't
Really?
know. I don't know.
It
It,
is.
it also looked like a totally different studio worked on it.
It looked
animation
different and it
wise.
felt
It's bizarre.
like
That's
it
good.
didn't.
What are you guys
it felt
talking
like
about?
it didn't fit. Like I understand
Oh, I
he's
mean, it's
supposed to be like
definitely
a
random.
super soldier or something, but I mean,
Before-
Yeah, he's
He
basically
could,
Captain
he
America.
could just straight up
It's a
fly
sci-fi
around.
episode.
Like it felt like it
Oh,
wasn't.
he could double jump.
It felt like it wasn't real.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
fucking-
It's a
same
sci-fi
way that
episode.
like the zombie episode wasn't real in Champloo, that's how I felt about this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was super weird. It looked super weird.
What do you mean it looks super weird?
The animation
Like,
looked
stylistically.
different.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought the shots were pretty good.
I thought everything about that
it
episode was
looked
pretty good.
different. Like the coloring was different. The animation
grits
It's
his
just a
itself,
teeth.
different palette, yeah, for sure.
like
When he grits his teeth and he grinds his teeth. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, it wasn't bad, but I was surprised it was one of the highest rated.
It doesn't
Yeah,
have a
me
lot
too.
of continuity with anything
it
else.
just
that's
kind of felt like
Basically not. Like them playing baseball, or
yeah, exactly, just a random action episode
The episode with Faye that almost made me want to argue for her was
where they find the
was
tape.
the episode, it's where she watches the part where her younger self is like cheering for her.
sure,
Yeah.
And her words are "don't lose," like win basically. But she says "don't lose me," and it's double meaning of like "don't lose me," "don't lose
Yeah,
yourself,"
that
and don't
episode's
lose
good.
your purity and like your who you are and stuff. And it's
And
so
it's sad
sad.
but it's already happened.
because after all
Yeah, it
watching
has.
like the whole tape, she's just like, I don't remember that person.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's sad.
She also says on one episode, I don't think it's the same episode, but she says, "I always feel like I'm alone when I'm with other people. I'd rather be alone in solitude than alone in a group of like a crowd,
there's an
you know?
episode
Yeah.
where she ditches them, and
Yeah.
I can't remember who says it to her, but they're like,
Isn't it the woman who there's some transgendered characters on both
yes, it's
series,
it might be
Yes,
them.
absolutely.
which is kind of cool too.
Are they transgendered or are they just cross-dressers?
which one are you
No,
talking
this
about?
person is a man with boobs because of a
happened-
hormonal issue.
Yeah, he explained that that's what
okay.
happened after, like, I guess the war.
I mean,
don't know
they
what
explained
war.
they said it was because
Yeah,
he did
sure.
drugs, which is kind of weird, but
But then also Ed is androgynous, and
Sure, yeah, okay. I can
But yeah,
buy
they
And
say you're
the other character?
leaving your crew because you're afraid of losing them. You don't want to deal with the pain of losing them down the road, so you're just trying to cut them
she
off.
doesn't want to
now.
get close to
Yeah.
anybody. Yeah, which I think that makes her character pretty
Yeah,
cool
I
and
agree.
interesting. Is that she's always gambling because she can't afford to be connected to money or anybody. Like
Yeah,
she just
she's
wants
not,
to get rid of everything.
She's not
Yeah.
She's afraid of
actually
losing.
just a freeloader who doesn't care, which is what she seems like at first.
She's afraid of losing everything, so she
Yeah.
just gets rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting how she'll always go out away and into trouble, whereas I think Fu gets taken a lot of the times.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Fu is probably the worst character on all
I
the
think
series.
so
I think.
too.
I
Unfortunately,
mean, I do like her story arc, but I think that she is not. She doesn't.
yeah, she's not very
She-
compelling.
What's the word?
She-
She doesn't move the
She
story
is
enough. She
like a
doesn't do
damsel
enough.
in distress a lot of
She's
the
a
time.
damsel in distress too
Oh,
much.
sometimes, yeah.
What I do like about her is that, like I was saying, she does befriend a lot of these side characters.
She does some cool
Who
stuff.
unfortunately
There is
end
some
up
cool stuff that she
dying.
does.
But
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
like, there's
She's definitely the only nice one in that group, so that would make sense.
and she's very accepting of people who have like been shunned.
There are multiple instances where she like will trick a guard or something like that, and then Momo will like land on the guard's
Yeah.
face as she like hits them over the head with a vase or something. Like that happens so many times.
yeah.
And there is actually one of my favorite. I'll get back to Mugen now. One of my favorite Mugen moments. I'm trying to find it in my notes. He okay. Fu is like been kidnapped or whatever for the 10th time, and
Yep.
she writes a message and she puts it on Momo for Momo to carry it to the guys. And so like Momo flies into Mugen's room and lands on his face, and then Mugen throws Momo across the room and like he's like, what the fuck, you mangy rat!
my
And, like
God.
he draws his sword and he's about to kill
Yeah.
it. And then Jin goes, I believe that flying squirrel is Fu's pet. And then Mugen goes, that girl has a pet?
So stupid.
It's 19 episodes
Yeah.
into the season. And he does not know that she has a flying squirrel pet.
One
so good.
Fu thing that I like, just because it felt very realistic. It's also with the blind lady. She has to choose one of the guys to go with her, and she chooses Jin, and
Yes.
he instantly agrees to go. And then the next
Yeah.
day, she's like crying, and she's like, "How could he agree to go?" Even though she asked him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "Why didn't he fight to stay with us?" You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that felt like a pretty, even though not necessarily mature response, it felt real.
Yeah, I think she. I do like that one. There's one episode. I don't know if it's that one where Mugen is walking away from them, and she's like, "Hey, don't get killed. You said you were gonna take me to the samurai with the flowers." And Jin's like, yeah, and you promised, and I'm supposed to be the one that kills you. Like, don't go off. Like, they always try to mask their feelings for each other.
Yeah, it's like, hey, don't die, so I can kill you.
Yeah, that's
Do you know
beautiful.
the episode where Jin plays chess with that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's looking for Fu, or he's looking for clues for somebody that they're looking for, and he's like walking very slowly by. And this guy is like, the guy asked him about chess or whatever. He goes, sorry, I'm in a rush now. I can't stop. And he's like seriously walking. Yeah. Like Jin he's never in a hurry.
But the thing in that episode, like Mugen is like, it seems like Mugen is doing shit the whole time while Jin is just playing the game. But then it turns out that the dude that Jin was playing with was the crime boss.
Yes. He was waiting.
Yeah. And so it's like the whole time he was chilling, but he was dealing with the actual enemy.
Exactly. He didn't have to be wild and erratic. He could just sit still and be patient. Yeah. He's got the enemy there. Yeah. I also say here that one of the things I love about Jin is that the first time he speaks is when he sees that like piece of shit lord abusing a commoner, and he asks the men, he says, do you think that serving a piece of shit lord is honorable? He pretends like he's not an instigator, but he will instigate like fights sometimes with people that he thinks are shitty.
That's what I'm talking about. That's when he takes the dude's money, I think.
Yes, he did. You're right. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, they explain how like when he was younger, he was not very likable because he was pretty egotistical about his skill, it seemed like.
Yes. He's a purist.
But then it seems like he's been humbled.
Is there anything else? Are there any other characters we need to mention? I don't know. Anybody
Certainly
else
not from Samurai Champloo. I don't think there's
really from
I don't think
we've
so.
touched on all. I mean, it's a very small cast in both the shows.
Yeah.
On Cowboy Bebop, Andy the Cowboy,
Oh God, how could we forget Andy the Cowboy?
who he's reminds Spike of himself too much, and that bomber keeps getting away with bombing things because they keep fucking like tripping over each other.
I unironically loved that episode.
Andy the Cowboy gives up being a cowboy, and they say, "What will you do next?" And he goes, "I don't know. I'll always find something." And then he becomes a samurai.
Yeah. Which after rewatching Shampoo and then watching that, I was like,
It's
oh
so
my
funny.
God.
Yeah, it is weird
It's
when you watch
great.
them
They
both
should
at
have
the
brought
same
him
time.
back in Samurai Champloo.
Honestly.
Just like, even though that's
Andy the Cowboy.
2060 or whatever time versus
Yeah.
the Edo period, but whatever, they can make it work.
There's another gender bending character too, the heavy metal queen.
I loved her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
VT is very non-gender conforming.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think.
And she has a cat.
Yeah.
The series has a lot of both series have a lot of strengths, and like those episode to episode interactions with the minor characters who either die or that you just don't see them again, or maybe you do see them again.
You get those interactions, I feel like, from Fu. And
What, like all the little important minor characters?
Yeah, so like she's saved by that archer who's trying to avenge his village.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
She has that connection with the like large disfigured man who's feared by everyone else.
That one was that's the one I was thinking about. That gave value to her character.
She's
in my
seen
mind,
so many people who
she connects
with people, and then she sees them get killed, and it's like, how are you not traumatized?
But it's not even just
There's that guy. There's the young pickpocket guy who she realized was just trying to save.
She really finds the good
to
in,
save his
in like a lot of bad
mom.
people.
She's definitely the Kagome. I don't know why I have to relate everything to Inuyasha characters. I just do.
Yeah, no, you're
but
right.
that's who she is.
Who's the Miyoga of this series?
Oh, definitely that guy that you can't remember the name of, but that always like is like, oh, I'm blah 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 of the blah blah blah. That's the Miyoga.
the Saw. It's something with
There's
the
that
Saw.
scene where he's using his polearm like a shake weight.
Yes.
It's so good.
Oh my God, that's true. And he comments on it. He's like, I wave it back and forth as a workout.
Or like he busts out of the barrel and all of the girls have already been taken, so he's just standing there like, oh shit.
My God.
I'm too late.
The only other two notes I have is that Ein does speak to that cow on the mushroom episode.
Yeah, he
and tells him thank you for your help for blocking the train.
That was. I'm glad you took note of that.
And I also have that Jet says there's nothing more pure and cruel as a child.
Mm-hmm.
He does
I don't know
say
why
that.
that
That was in the
episode with the cult.
No, that was in the episode with Perot.
The man child.
Yeah, because they say he
Yeah.
has the mind of a child.
Oh, right. He says something about a child in that other episode, but it wasn't that.
He also says nothing good ever comes from Earth.
Well, and it's
he's not
interesting.
wrong.
So in the Perot episode, you have this adult assassin man with the mind of a child, and then previously you had had the child with the mind of like an immortal man,
an adult,
who's like freaking like Vandal Savage, like got turned immortal by a meteor or some shit.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
So are we going to talk about the live action Cowboy Bebop?
I didn't.
Nah.
I didn't actually watch it.
I watched one episode of it.
I didn't watch it either. I watched a clip of Edward, and I decided, I'm not strong enough for this one.
That's the clip that everybody bashed, but it was literally the last 3 seconds of the last episode.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't know Edward was even in it.
They didn't introduce Ed. They didn't really introduce him. It was a teaser.
Okay. Well, that was enough to make
got
me not
canceled
start
instantly. So
yeah, dude, I was pissed off about that because I loved all the people involved.
Yeah, you said it was pretty decent, right?
I watched the first episode.
I didn't care for it. It was okay.
And I liked the first episode. I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. I didn't.
The problem is the show felt cheap. It felt like cheaply produced. That's the problem. That was one of the problems I had.
I don't know. I liked the set pieces on the first episode.
Well, about the first episode, so since I didn't watch it, I can't really judge it. But what I understand is that it's an hour long, right? And it's completely adapting the first episode of Bebop, which is 20 minutes. So it's a bit much.
The first 15 minutes are like a scene that does not exist in Bebop, which is like a casino heist thing.
With like
and
a fight.
I was really entertained by it. I really liked that scene, actually.
I think John Cho got some pretty glowing reviews as Spike, which
I
of
love John
course,
Cho, and I hate that John Cho gets
Shafted
so many shows canceled. Yeah, it sucks.
I did hear that he did a great job. I didn't really hear too much about the other cast, but I know that he's a standout. Like
based upon what I saw in the first episode, there was not. You know how Spike in the anime is basically his fighting style is modeled after Bruce Lee?
Yes.
There was not a lot of that in the live action. Because it's hard to replicate Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
Unless you know Jeet Kune Do, right?
I guess
right.
you gotta
how would you fake that?
I don't think it was like as bad as like Iron Fist or something.
No.
Like, it was. I think he did a pretty good job.
Well, I mean, come on, we're comparing it to Iron Fist now.
Yeah, the bar's that low, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't fault that. I'm just saying it felt like a little cheap and a little slow compared to the pacing of the anime, which is 20-minute episodes.
It sounds like it's a writing issue for the most part, not like a performance issue.
It might be a production issue also.
Well, when they make the Samurai Champloo live action,
there's no way that could possibly
you cannot do Mugen's fighting at all.
No,
realistically.
No, it just won't happen.
It's impossible.
It won't happen.
Catching katanas in the chanclas, yes,
the steel-plated shoes, so good.
Why do we feel the need to make these live action versions of these anime?
Show
me an example of a live action anime adaptation that did well.
Not a single one.
Dragon Ball Z Evolution?
Oh,
you got it. You did it. You cracked the code.
Isn't it it's Dragon Ball Evolution.
They all fail, so why are we doing it?
Dude, and Netflix they have more money than sense.
Just stop.
Yeah, it's bad.
These shows both just have such a style to them that cannot be properly conveyed with live action, and they don't need to be.
Yeah, I have no desire for that to happen.
Hey, they said Watchmen couldn't be adapted, and there we go. They did it.
I mean, Watchmen, I don't know. I understand what they say.
No, the movie's okay.
When they say it's unadaptable, I understand what they're saying.
I enjoyed the movie, though.
The TV series is fucking near perfect.
The TV series is so good.
Solid.
It's near perfect. Yeah, it's so good.
Well,
and we could talk about it in a different episode.
When so much of like Bebop, for example, is so iconic to it that you can't take it away. Like that's why they adapted the opening to look just like the animated opening.
Okay,
right?
I was going to comment on that. It looked good. That was the one thing I liked.
If you changed it, everyone would be pissed.
Yeah, you can't change that. But then like the score and everything, like you're gonna have to make a whole new jazz. Yeah, like it's just not. There's just so much iconic to it. You can't use it again, obviously, because of like rights and stuff. But you can't just recreate and make a new one and have it be as iconic.
I do think that's one of the huge problems with the show is the length of episodes. You lose a lot of. Like I said, I think that the music's a huge part of why the show is successful.
Oh yeah,
because it does a lot of control the pacing and the speed of the show
for the
itself.
music. The music was for Bebop was done by Yoko Kanno, who also did Ghost in the Shell, which also has like an amazing soundtrack.
Yeah. Okay. I think I remember reading that before I got on.
And I mean, when John Lennon died, her career.
I knew you were going to say it.
You said Yoko Ono.
Shut up.
I was trying to get ahead of it, but I just didn't want to do it. It was too much for me.
What's her name though, Bran? What is it?
Yoko Kanno.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Dumb asshole.
But I very much love the soundtrack for Champloo as well.
Oh, the Champloo soundtrack. I love that.
Rest in peace to the man, I don't know how you pronounce it, Nujabes, who did the music for
I heard he
Champloo.
passed away,
Yes.
Damn, dude.
Very good shit.
His work will be remembered, though, at least. I mean, that's he's got a legacy.
And I heard Dandy also is pretty musically themed as well, but like I said, I have not seen it.
Dandy?
Space
Yeah,
Dandy?
Space Dandy?
I
Yeah, Space
haven't
Dandy.
seen that one, but I was curious. Like, I knew that was the same
I
people
might go
that did
and
Bebop.
watch it now. Yeah.
That's even older, right?
No,
That one's newer.
2013.
I
It's
just
on
didn't.
Hulu. You
I
can
just
watch it.
never really heard anyone like rave
Talk about
about it. Yeah, so I don't know
Oh,
how
I'm
it
sure
is.
it's
I know
fine.
nothing about it.
I don't
think-
know why I thought this was old. Maybe
He
just,
looks like Lupin.
Yeah, maybe
as
just
we were
the
talking about
style.
earlier.
Yeah, literally just looks like Lupin.
Speaking of the hunger, they use the same gut grumbling sound on both series.
Yes.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
They're like,
Because they're just
Speaking of the
they're always
soundboards.
just fucking starving.
like their
Maybe it
stomachs
is a
always
commentary on fucking...
starving artists, man. I don't know.
Yeah, this has to be related to his life, like
It has to be.
just the
It has to be.
struggle to eat.
I think we only have 3 characters really to talk about, but we could do some categories real quick to help us out. I mean, just to
Are
put
there
them to rest anyway.
any other honorable
Yeah.
mentions? I don't
Who?
think so.
Oh yeah, I don't
Because
think so. I think
pretty
we named
much
every
everyone
character.
else is like a one-off character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like, because I think all these characters look freaking iconic, right? So like, which one has the most iconic look?
Oh, it's
I mean,
Spike.
Jin looks like a samurai,
Yeah,
right?
I think
But the glasses are cool.
I think I just love the style of Champloo.
It's also
Shampoo's
newer.
got some great style.
So
I
you'll
love
get that
It's
too.
newer.
That's
but
true.
More stylized, I think.
You know what I do like is Mugen's fit reminds me.
I love Mugen's
because we were
fit.
just talking about how that kid in your class would wear the Tanjiro.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
jacket or whatever.
Yes.
Mugen is
That's
basically
what-
wearing the same thing. It's the
No,
same
legit.
Oh
style
my
shirt.
God.
After finishing my rewatch, I messaged Seabass and I was like,
Buying.
dude, my next cosplay has to be Mugen.
It's so good.
The hair is absolutely wild, though. Is that not what I'm
I'm just gonna have to
remembering?
fluff my shit up.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on my Fire Force cosplay. So
I
Oh,
like.
shit.
I think the part of Mugen's look that I love that he utilizes in combat is like his shoes are
the
always
sandals are
Oh, yeah,
badass.
I love
shoes,
it.
the
I love
sandals.
it.
Yes.
And I love the way his sword has that like fucking like Ninja Turtle looking.
Yeah, he
like,
doesn't.
Oh,
he
it's like a
doesn't
sai?
use
Thing on
a
it.
katana
Yeah.
like everyone
It's
else.
like a sai.
He just has his own shit.
I love it, dude.
sheath is like twice
And
as big as
there's
the
a
sword.
scene where they're trying to sell their swords for money, and the guy's like, "What kind of sword is that? I'm not going to give you anything for it." Like
Yeah.
he only wanted the katanas. Mugen's sword is just something else.
Yep.
And then I don't know about Spike. I mean, the open lapel, the like, just sharp dress,
casual,
cigarette in his mouth.
professional.
Yeah, but I
Cigarette
mean,
in
like
his
Matt
mouth.
was saying earlier, that classic like Lupin-inspired look.
It
Yeah.
perfectly
I
fits
like
the
his-
character.
Yeah,
He cribbed it directly.
He did.
What do
I
we
like his.
like?
I like his different colored eyes. I think that was a nice touch.
Oh yeah, he
Yes.
talked about
Oh,
that.
yeah.
But then he
One
doesn't
season
reveal
past.
till the end that it's a fake guy.
He's got one
Yeah.
eye in the past and one eye in the future.
Yeah, I think it's
I
one
don't
eye
know
in the
about that.
past,
That
one
one
eye in the
felt like-
present.
One eye in the present, one eye in the
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess. Well, what do we like? Do we like the throwback? Do we like the hip hop samurai, or do we like the traditional samurai with the glasses?
Well, I think another reason I prefer Champloo, and this is just a personal preference, is that I like the medieval
Japanese?
stuff more than
Yeah,
sci-fi.
me too.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's
there's,
fair.
there's
Also,
no.
I don't know. I feel like I could find some asshole who just looks like Spike on the streets now.
Yeah, if I was going to pick like a character that I love their look, it'd probably be Jet. I love the way Jet looks. But
Oh, he's basically Jax.
I was gonna say you can find him in a lot of stuff though, and that's kind of problematic. Like I wonder. Well,
He's
he's
Jax,
not
he's
black
Barrett.
in.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not black though in the series,
sure, but
but
he's
he
I
is
mean,
those guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
he is all. They're all the same person. Yeah, except
Yeah.
without the problematic.
I mean, for
portrayal of
Bebop, I would
black
say
people, I
that
guess.
Faye has the most
has
iconic
a
look.
pretty
yeah,
cool look.
she does. They didn't
Ed is
adapt
different as
that one
fuck.
fully.
It is very sexualized, but it's cool.
I just went and looked it up. It's definitely crazy. But compared to like, I don't know, I was just comparing it to like
I mean, I feel like she's
fucking like
You're
Yoko.
no.
Or
it's less fan servicey, like overtly. There's not like titties bouncing in your face.
Oh, they're swinging though.
oh, they're also titties.
swinging.
They're huge.
Those
And
titties are swinging.
what I noticed is like there's definitely multiple just like slow pans of her long legs.
Yeah, the
definitely.
pantyhose.
Yeah,
like,
so I'm like,
That's like a
I
noir
don't
thing.
need
Yeah.
that. I don't necessarily.
That's a
Then
harken to the
also
noir
in the
thing,
mushroom
though.
episode, she's just having diarrhea the whole time. So really,
Oh, yeah.
Because she ate their last food and she lied about it.
yeah, the
Yeah.
expired
Piece of
like
shit.
rations or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what is the middle ground for? Are they providing fan service or are they not? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's not in the same way as more modern anime like you're talking about, Matt.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
It
Yoko,
feels like
which we
she's-
talked about.
She's just
in depth.
a modern woman who just dresses however she wants. Yeah.
But
It
I
doesn't
mean, the
feel too
style is
sexualized.
cool. Don't get me wrong.
I would wear that, and I'm a man.
Let's see
Okay.
it. That's your cosplay.
Okay, done.
Okay. Arcs then. I think Mugen doesn't have enough of an arc. I think Jin's is cool and I think Spike's is cool, obviously.
Yeah.
Spikes literally ends in his death.
Yeah,
Like
and I love
Jin-
that. I wouldn't want it any other way. I think that was
But
the perfect ending
Jin
for him.
killing the guy who forced his master to like be corrupted and that he had to kill his own master, and it's what led him on this whole path.
The problem with the arcs, in my opinion, is that
Yeah.
the episodic nature of the show sometimes
Oh,
makes
for
you
sure.
forget that there's like
Yeah.
something that they're trying to do. So you're like,
yeah, it's
eh.
definitely less
definitely.
important, like arcs.
It is less important, but I think
He said, I'm more here
It's
for
nice.
the antics
Yes.
in both the shows.
And
There's literally just
speaking
antics.
of
and then there's-
antics, I do think Bebop has the perhaps better serious moments.
I think Champloo's funnier.
Champloo's comedy
Yeah.
is there's way more comedy and it's very funny in my
Yeah.
opinion.
There is more comedy with Champloo, which I think is maybe why I didn't identify with it so much.
Yeah,
And-
does that make
I-
it a stronger anime then?
Not,
yeah, there's
it
not
just
the
depends-
absurdity to Bebop,
It just
but I like
depends
that
what you
there's
want.
not.
On what you like.
But I
yeah,
love
exactly.
I love
Yeah.
the humor in Champloo.
It fits the
I do too.
style for Champloo to have those
Also, don't
like,
forget that
absurd
there's-
moments.
There's like 5 years that separate these shows now.
Even
Yeah.
more, right?
Oh yeah, Bebop's 90s at least.
I would say like
Bebop's
98,
like
99.
98.
Though.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
And then-
5-6 years.
I mean, that's still a long time to evolve your vision.
that's like
for everything.
that's like a season, like 2 different seasons of Attack on Titan.
Attack on
God
Titan.
Oh,
damn
yeah.
it. One and a
Right.
half, maybe.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm looking at Cowboy Bebop on Rotten Tomatoes 100%.
Oh.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
As
there's
it
no
should.
denying that it's the classic.
That's
And-
critics 100%, audience 96%.
Fair.
Damn. Character development. I mean, all these characters, I think they all do have growth towards the end, and it is like
Yeah.
at the end where you
I'd
see the
say
growth.
yeah,
on
I'd
both
say the
series.
question about arc would serve that. But I do
Yeah.
I do think despite the episodic nature, I think Bebop does a better way of coming back around to it in a more like hey, you need to pay attention to this episode kind of way.
Mhm.
For Spike, whereas
There is a
for
little
Jin,
more
like that is a
story.
cool moment. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a cool moment
That's
with
because
Jin,
there's
but
a
I feel
main
like it wasn't.
character.
But
like a main
that's what I was gonna say. I do
Yeah,
think it is
yeah.
because there's more focus on Spike, so you can do that.
Yeah, they
Well-
put a lot into his character and his arc.
Yeah.
And
Which is
not
fine.
mad
Like
about it.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
say one approach is better than the other. It's just different.
Again, I do think that one of the themes of Champloo is that it's about the journey. I also think, and this is going to sound really fucking pretentious,
Let's hear it.
but I think that Japan is the main character in Champloo. I think that they're exploring the history,
Yeah,
they're
it sounds
exploring
pretentious as
the
hell.
culture, they're
Absolutely.
exploring. They literally are showing us a map of Japan the entire
You
time.
might be right
No,
there. I
they
give-
And-
travel like the whole length of the country.
It is a love letter to Japan,
But if
like
that's
the
the
entire
case, it's
series.
not. I mean, it's through some sort of colored lens because it's. I mean, while there might be historical references and things like that, clearly,
Yeah.
clearly there's a lot of influence.
So you're saying that Americans did not come and play this baseball game?
I wouldn't know. How could I possibly know?
I think it was before baseball had come to Japan. I think the Edo period. I feel like that's before baseball even existed in America.
Yeah.
Well, my thing is, like I said, I like the setting
Commodore Perry?
for Cowboy Bebop a lot more than
yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like historical.
Yeah, see, I think that's just a
Anime.
personal
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah.
Some people like good stuff. Some people like shitty stuff. Like that's just how it is.
I'm a huge fan of like that style thing. Like I really love Firefly. I know I talked about it earlier, but
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that Firefly copped a lot of shit
Anything Joss Whedon does, I love.
Yeah.
Here's
So like
That was a joke.
never mind.
Yeah, that was a joke. I'm cutting that. That was a joke. I thought that would get a bigger laugh, and it did
My
not.
eyes got real wide when you
It
said
did not
that.
get.
God damn it.
Oh man. All right. Well,
Well, it is what it is.
I think it's time to do it.
You think so?
I think so.
I think this is a tough one, and it really is just
No,
going
it's
to
very
come
tough.
down to difference in preferences.
It's going
as
to come
we've been
down to
saying.
Matt and Angela.
Yeah,
liking Spike.
I don't want to speak for anyone, but I do think it's going to be a two-way tie.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brandon, because I might fuck
so
you
if
over.
if you're swayed, I mean, it's not fucking me over. I mean, yeah, vote what you feel.
All right, let me think about it for just 5 seconds. Let me think about it.
Do keep in mind that the faster we come to a conclusion, the faster I can be asleep
All
in
right,
my bed.
I got it.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Spike.
You did not say Ein. You wait.
No, Spike, of
What did
course.
Angela say?
I said Spike.
But you didn't say Ein, Matt. You're joking.
No, Spike. I mean,
Okay,
I
Spike, okay.
truly love that character.
I thought about going Mugen because I love Mugen, but I will always believe that the purpose of this podcast is to find the best character, and I think Jin is the best character of the series. Whether, I love Mugen more, but I think Jin is
Mugen
the
might
best
Bold
character.
provide
claim.
more entertainment.
Yes, but I
Jin
think Jin is the
better
best character.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I prefer Mugen over Jin for 1,000 reasons, but only because I don't like those types of characters.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Are we just gonna leave it there? Is that how it is?
I think I would choose Jet over Spike, to be honest.
And I would choose Faye over Spike.
Yeah.
Bold
I like
claims.
Jet a lot,
Bold
but the problem
claims.
is that
So, and
I mean,
once
he is a
again-
paladin, so
John and I didn't
paladin.
watch
Yeah.
maybe that's
Bebop
it.
until we were adults, but rewatching it, I'm like, to me, he's not a super compelling main character.
Okay, I will say that I think now that if I'm thinking about it the same way I just thought about Jin on Champloo being the best character, I like Jet and Faye more, but I do think Spike is the best character on Bebop.
I think he gets the most development.
That's probably why.
symptomatic. That's what I said.
I tend to think that best character equals best written, and in order to be best written, to me, you have to have like really good development. So that's why I would give him that title.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I also,
However, this podcast was started because y'all said main characters suck. Spike's the main
Ooh.
character.
Exactly.
I normally don't go for the main
feel
character.
the same way. I almost always like side characters.
I
more.
almost always like side characters more too, but
Yeah.
Spike just like it is a lot of it is his story. I gotta say on my rewatch, I liked Faye and everybody else less than when I was a kid.
Damn.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
For me, rewatching drew me so much more to Spike than I had in the past. So it's not even that I loved him when I was younger. I definitely saw him as like the oh wow, he's got a lot going on
Listen,
kind of character.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I liked Faye more than anything, but
Yeah.
rewatching it, it really stood out to me how well written he is and how
Look-
like devil may care he is. He doesn't want to go for the stuff unless it's super dangerous, and I think that there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
because he's
I
just
do
like,
love it.
wait, I can dive, I do this.
He's a death
All right,
wish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. Because
I
he's
feel
just,
that.
it's like
Mugen
he's
has a
trying to
death wish,
wake
too.
up. Because he even said, as Julia's like dying in his arms, she says like, it was all a dream. And I think that that's kind of how he lives his life on the Bebop. Is like, this
Yeah,
is
that
just
it's
a
not
dream
real.
I'm gonna wake up from. I'm gonna find
Yeah.
something that
He's
wakes me
already
up, or I'm gonna
supposed to have
die.
died.
Yeah.
He's already supposed to have died once.
Yeah,
so he
and
doesn't-
Julia
I
was
also
that
think it's so
thing.
random the way
Yeah.
that she dies. I don't know if I like that.
It is, but
like
it
storm
felt
the
so
castle and then
abrupt.
she just gets shot in the back.
well,
I'm just like, what?
I think that's
But
the
anyway.
same
Yeah,
in
you're
the
right.
way of like the sunflower dad dying was like
Yeah.
just oh wow okay
Oh,
so
sure,
we
it's like
we
these-
go on this
these-
whole journey to find him and then he's
Exactly.
dying.
These
yeah,
characters
that's-
find what
Yeah.
they've been searching for this whole time.
Right.
And
No,
it
but
ripped
it's not.
away.
But that's the
Yeah.
point. Is it's not what they were searching for. That's the
Yeah.
whole point.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no such thing
Because-
as a samurai who smells like sunflowers because sunflowers don't have a smell.
It's in the process of searching. It's
not real.
They found like this family.
They were looking for something that's not real, and they found something that is real.
You're
That's
so
the point.
focused on someone that wasn't in your life
Yes.
that you didn't realize all the people that
Yeah.
you've grown to love along the way, basically.
Good fucking shows either
Yeah,
way.
both
Yeah.
are amazing.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with a tie in this case because two Watanabe
Well, yeah,
characters.
and
I mean,
it's,
that-
think
it's
that's
two
fair.
different series.
I can't believe it. We did it again. We figured out who the best character is in whatever we're talking about, despite the podcast being called Your Favorite Character Sucks. Now, the only question is, what should we do next? You can help us decide by following us at YFCS Pod on Instagram and Twitter and telling us which show, movie, series, book you think we should do. Until then, hit that subscribe button and catch us on the next episode. Thanks for listening.